This meeting is being recorded.
Have you ever wished you could start over? Have you ever wished that there was a second chance in life, that you could do something new, that you could rebuild yourself, that you could, make the past in the past
Mhm.
and move toward another future? If so, then you have to learn how to make that decision,
Mhm.
make different decisions that move you forward.
Mhm.
And today's expert is helping us in making those decisions. Hello, Catherine Thiry. It is so nice to meet you and to have your expert advice on making that decision of starting over. Do you want to give people a little bit about your story and how you started over?
Well, nice to meet you, Sarah. Thank you for inviting me to this podcast. Yes, I'm a little bit about myself. I'm a former German teacher. I taught German at high school for many years, more than 20 years. And I decided late at 50 to change my career because I think I had to take a second chance and I had to bet on myself and not to to rely on others to move me forward. And so I decided, but the decision was quite difficult to make for me because I was, as a civil servant, I was attached to my status. And in France, there is a model, there is a special model of success. We value people who work for the state, who become civil servants. So changing job for me was also disrupting the culture in which I lived, because I felt a bit starting a job as an entrepreneur. I was regarded as an outsider. I was disregarded from my family and also from my friends and from the people who decided to continue to work as civil servant. I was really regarded as an outsider, and that
You
was painful. An
you use the word
outsider.
outsider. Yes, I love the outsider word. And I think when we were talking before, you used the word disruptor. And I want to
Yes.
say, a 50, in your 50s when you made the
Yes.
decision, 50-year-old disruptor. And I
Yes.
want our listeners to hear that, because I see so many women who think, oh, well, I'm already 50, so I might as well just keep doing what I've already been doing. And you're here to say they can do something different.
Yes, and there are still, it's never too late to change, because now we know that women live longer. Now we live till above 80, and so there's still time enough to think bigger, to do bigger things, and to even to succeed. The time is not too short to achieve other things and to reinvent themselves. And I don't understand when people say you are 50 and it's over for you, game is over. And I get angry when I heard this, because it's not true. We always have the choice. We always, and age should never be a barrier to achieving our dreams.
Mm.
And I think it's a false excuse to say I'm too old. I think people do not want to empower themselves to change their life. I think it's a false excuse. And at 50, you can. I decided to make a radical career change, because starting as an entrepreneur, when you have been working a civil servant for more than 20 years, that's really a disruption. Because there are
Uh-huh.
only, I think, 1% of people who do that,
In
who
France.
decide to move from
Mhm.
to work from a civil servant to work as an entrepreneur. I think 1% is willing to do this career transition, this radical choice. So I
That's why
belong to the minority of women, and I'm proud with my choice.
I love talking to other entrepreneurs, because they are in that 1%. And there was
Yes,
so much courage that
yes.
came
Mm,
with
mm,
disrupting. There's so much
mm,
courage. So I wasn't telling myself I was too old. I was
mm.
telling myself I was too young.
Ah, yeah, okay.
No one would listen to me,
Mm,
right? No one would take me seriously. And I think it's funny the way our brains play tricks on us,
Yes.
right? If you're either too young, too
Mm.
old, too
Yes.
fat, skinny, too pretty, too ugly, too
Yes.
loud, too quiet.
Mm.
And I love that you pointed that out and said that telling yourself you're too old is your brain lying to you.
Yes, it's a way to disempower yourself also.
Mhm.
Because so when you told yourself, you tell yourself you are too old, you do not change, you remain even in the same situation, and it's a way to not move forward, to um, to stay, how should I say, to stay the status quo, to remain in the status quo.
Mhm, mhm.
And it's too comfortable, and but maybe people choose to stay unhappy. They prefer to stay unhappy because the cost to staying unhappy is not so high that the cost of making a change. I think so.
In the US, we call it hitting rock bottom. So you have
Yes,
to hit rock bottom before you make a change. And I wish I could change this about humans so much, because that's a rock bottom is a hard place to start over.
yes, yes.
If if we can get that courage and make that decision,
Mm.
because if you're 50 and making a change, there's a very high chance you have 30 years or more left to
Yes,
live.
yes,
30 years is
yes.
a
Mm.
very long
Long
time.
time. Yes, and you can achieve a lot in 30 years.
Yes.
You have time enough to achieve your goals, to make your dreams come true, to succeed. And I think a lot of women do not realize that 50 is not, if you are unhappy in your job, you have to change radically and not stay in the situation where you wait, and you do not know why what you are waiting for. Uh,
Yeah, waiting on your fairy godmother, right?
yes,
Magic coming, or your genie coming in a lamp. Now,
yes,
you talked about women learning to become the center of their own decision making, and I
yes,
loved praise, and men too. I
mm,
definitely know. I know you work with women historically. I've worked with women, but I know some men who struggle with this too. And maybe they
yes,
had a very controlling parent, or
mm,
someone who made all their decisions for them, or a controlling boss, or an
yes.
older sibling who the
Mm,
family centered around. It could be anything.
mm.
Um, so how do you learn to become the center of your own decision making?
How I have earned,
Learned, yes. How did you
learned.
learn to be the center of your own decision making?
Well, but I decided to not depend on external validation. When I make a decision, I do not ask everyone if it is the right or the wrong decision. I follow my gut, and if it feels right for me, I will do this decision. And I'm not asking, because when you ask, you reveal that you are not self-confident, and that you are not able to make a decision. You let others decide for yourself, and that show lack of self-worth, self-esteem, and lack of self-confidence, I think so. And I think that's the problem with some women who were not trained to make their own decisions,
Mhm.
and they
Yes. So,
always let their husband or their parent decide for themselves. Huh?
and that's how I was raised. I was
Okay,
raised, my dad was a very strong decision maker, and then I
okay.
found myself in romantic relationships with people who are very strong decision makers. I also surrounded myself with friends who
Mm,
were really strong decision makers, because then
mm,
I could ask them.
mm,
And at the time, I didn't realize that's what I was doing. And
mm,
people outside my life would say, everyone in your life is very bossy and they boss you around. And I
mm.
was like,
Ah,
no, they just care about me. No, they're just caring about, which now I don't like that, right? But I know I had to learn to become that self-confident decision maker. Do you have any tips for women who are looking to start that process?
Tip, well, I think if you change totally your professional environment like me, because I changed from being a civil servant to becoming an entrepreneur, I think you have to reach out to people who you want to become like, you know.
Change your
I
circle.
think, yes, you have to create a new circle of people you identify with. Otherwise, you are going to stay stuck in the same environment with people mirroring the same identity, and you are not going to move. So you have to recreate to a new circle of influencer who will influence you in the sense in your interest. I think so, because otherwise, if you stay in the same environment, you are not going to move. You are not going to make a decision. You will not feel confident and courageous enough to make a decision. So you have to step outside of your environment and to reach out to other people, either through networking events or virtually while attending events. And so you will create a new environment with people you identify with, and it will help you become the person you want to become. I think so. Because you have to first to act like you want to become the person. If you do not act like, you are not going, identity is not changing overnight. It's a behavioral process, I think so. You change your identity when you adopt the right behavior. I think so.
Your identity when you adopt the different behavior or adopt
Yes.
the right behavior. I agree with that so much. And we talked before, there's all kinds of resources online that say we make 35,000 decisions a day.
Yes.
So we already are decision makers, whether or not we identify as a decision maker or not. We're already making decisions about, right now I'm drinking smart coffee. So it's not real coffee. It's ground mushrooms and collagen and some of this healthy stuff. Well, that's a decision I made. I could have had regular coffee or this type of coffee, and this type of coffee is supposed to be good for my brain. So I met this coffee. It's a small decision, but it's definitely more expensive.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and a small decision, but with a great impact, can have a great impact.
Brain health. Brain health is an important decision, but when we start to find these decisions we are already making, especially good decisions we're already making, maybe we decided to walk instead of take a ride, maybe we decided to exercise that day, maybe we decided to reach out to a friend, maybe we decided to get up early and get some of our work done so we could spend more time with our family later that day. When we start to remind ourselves that we are making some good decisions, it can help us build that identity of decision maker. Right?
Yes. Yes, true. Yes, and I think it's a matter of habits, of changing our daily habits, because behavior has always to do with our habits. If we do not change our habits, we are not going to change our behavior. I think so. And I like to refer to the book of James Clear, Atomic Habits.
Good. Atomic Habits. So good.
Yes. A small, teeny change of habits can have a great impact on our life. Changing even little teeny habits can always have a great impact on our life. And I think everything starts with changing our habits. And that's very important.
I read something this week about from a nutrition coach when I was writing my new book, which is Simple Habits for Complex Decisions. Writing a book is terrible for your health. It's terrible. You're just sitting, you're sitting, you're sitting, you're sitting. And so I hired a nutrition coach and started working with her because I knew I couldn't keep eating the way I had been eating.
Okay. You have to change your eating habits.
I had to change my eating habits. And she said that if you lost 0.2 pounds a day, which seems
Yes,
like nothing, that would be 20 pounds in like 6 weeks or something. I
yes.
haven't done complete math, but that's exactly what Atomic Habits talks about. It's like,
Mm.
okay, I'm not gonna have butter or bread that day, and it's 2 pounds or 0.2 pounds that has
Yes,
huge results
yes.
after a bit of time.
Mm.
And so it's
So it
just
seems to be a teeny habit, but it has a great impact on your
mhm,
health, physical and mental, and even emotional health.
yeah,
Huh?
yeah. That's
So because we have every habit we take, they can have a holistic approach, an holistic impact. Huh? And we are not always conscious of that. We are not
mhm,
always aware that we think that we have to make big decisions to change our life, but that's not the case. We can start with small decisions.
mhm.
If we
Absolutely.
are not people are always afraid, well, but if I change this or that, I will have to make big decisions. No, you can start with small decisions while changing your habits, and so you can achieve your goals. Huh? While changing teeny little habits, people do not realize that they can change their life only with changing teeny little habits. And so everything starts with changing your habits to build a new behavior and to new way or new pattern of thinking, of acting, of behaving. I think so. I like this book of James Clear because Atomic Habits is about of is about changing little things to have great impact in our life. Who can have which can have great impacts in our life.
So, Catherine, if there was a listener who knew that they wanted a different second half of life, who knew they wanted to recreate their story and rewrite the ending,
Mm.
but they were scared or felt trapped or felt like they had to fulfill the obligations of their parents or
Mm.
society, what advice would you give them?
Well, I would say you only have one life, and your ambition in life should be to find your purpose and your meaning in life. Because if you are not able to find meaning and purpose in life, you are not living your life, and you are living the life of someone else, and that's the sense of failure. You have failed for me.
You have failed for me too, Catherine. I love that. Will you tell people where they can find out about you and working with you and the work you do?
Well, I'm present on social media because I'm in the process of rebuilding my website. So I do not want to
Oh,
give
it's a
the
hard process. Oh,
yes,
I've
it's
done
a long and
so many.
hard process, and I have to choose someone else to build my website. So they can find me I post regularly on LinkedIn platform. So if they want to reach out to me, they can send me a DM, and we'll be happy to have a call with them.
Yes. And I will put that in the link so you guys can check out
Okay,
that
thank
in the
you.
show notes.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Catherine, thank you so much for helping us. And congratulations on your new life.
Thank
Congratulations on
you. I'm
it's
happy with my new life.
me
I
too.
know I made the right decision. I know I made the right decision, and that's the most important thing. When
Mhm.
you know that you have made the right decision, even late, there is no late. There is always on time. I said people, because people always say, "Well, you are 50, you cannot change." No, if you change at 50, you are always on time.
Mm.
You are always on time. There is no such thing like late decision making. If you change on 50, it's always on time. I think so.
I love it. Thank you so much for helping us become amazing decision makers.
Thank you, Sarah. It's been a pleasure to talk to you and to your audience.